mengucap terima kasih kepada penasihat PUCM Pahang Chapter Dato Saifuddin berjumpa dengan saya pada minggu lalu dan beliau beritahu malam ni ada suatu pertemuan. Saya ingat 10-12 orang saja. Saya tak sangka program sebesar ini. Brothers and sisters, I would like to thank PUCM for inviting me tonight. When I first met outside the hall, when I first met Dato Lee, I mistakenly thought that he is a Malaysian because his ways showed that he is very comfortable with our life or our lifestyle, and later I found out that he has been staying and doing his business here in Malaysia, in particular in Kuala Lumpur, for 22 years.
Right, exactly.
I must also thank Dato Saifuddin for helping to organize tonight's gathering. I met with him last week together with Dato Aziz and my old friend Mr. Randy, and he told me that we will have a meeting tonight, and I thought we will be meeting about 10 or 12 people. I didn't expect such a big gathering. Well, brothers and sisters, give a big hand to Dato Keith and Dato Saifuddin. Suddenly I felt that I'm still Minister of Foreign Affairs. I remember when I was in my last portfolio, I had quite a number of meetings with Malaysian and Chinese entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs from Malaysia and China, people who do business. One of them is Andy here, who is also very active in the circuit. But PUCM, I'm told, is slightly unique in the sense that this is really a platform for Chinese entrepreneurs from China who are having business in Malaysia. And on behalf of the government, I would like to put on record that we are very, very thankful and appreciative of your presence in Malaysia, for coming in and doing business here in Malaysia, for putting your investment in Malaysia, and for putting your trust in making Malaysia as your place to do business. I must put on record that we value and appreciate your role in this regard. Now, my take is that when it comes to technology and technological advancements, the evolution of ideas works in a certain trajectory. And there are basically 4 stages of ideas or evolution of ideas. The first stage is, or rather if you look at the stages now, the first stage is that there are ideas that are being used by most of the people on planet Earth, and it is about to be sunset. The second one, or the second stage, is where the ideas are still fresh, or the technologies are still fresh and new, and are used by almost everyone. For example, is of course the handphone. The third stage is ideas that are still new, still being debated, still being developed, and not used by so many people, but are already here. A good example would be robots. The fourth stage is ideas to come. Gadgets and apps and instruments that have yet to be created. It has been debated. Some people may have started using probably the prototypes. They are in the labs still, or in incubation, but they are technologies that will come, or ideas that will be realized. Perhaps 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 20 or 30 years from now. If you want to read Kevin Kelly, then he will tell you that the industries of the future, or the technologies of the future, those that will be realized about 20 years from now, have yet to be created. But it is inevitable that they will come and they will arrive. In this context, in Malaysia and in many parts of the world, including in China, COVID-19, to a certain extent, actually expedite certain application of certain technologies and devices. In China, e-wallet or e-payment or cashless society is already almost a norm before COVID-19. Even beggars use QR code in China. I mean, just to reflect, just to represent an example of how a cashless society is already a norm in China. It was not yet really a norm in Malaysia, but because of COVID-19, people start learning how to pay online and so on. Yeah. So the coming of new technologies is inevitable. Today we learn to use some of the gadgets, and we learn how to try to master the usage of certain gadgets and equipments. And we manually upgrade most of the gadgets that we are using. But in future, the hygiene of the technology that we use, or the hygiene of the instruments and gadgets that we use, will upgrade itself almost automatically. Upgrading is internalized in the gadgets, if I can put it that way. And if today you can buy a handphone and you start trying to master it, after a few days you think you mastered it, after a few months you have to upgrade it, and then you learn again, and then you master it. But futurists are telling us that 20 years from now, you buy the gadget today, tomorrow you learn how to use it, the next day you really don't know how to use it again because the gadget has upgraded itself. And you will never be able to master any technology. Change and continuous learning is going to be very, very real. Now, brothers and sisters, I don't intend to give you a lecture on technology in front of Chinese entrepreneurs in Malaysia. All I'm trying to say is two things. And this is really for Malaysians, not for the Chinese entrepreneurs who are in Malaysia. Two things that Malaysia can learn from China. And this to me is very, very significant. And this I saw with my own eyes when I was foreign minister and visiting China a couple of times. Number one, you may not be the first group of people who create a particular technology. A country does not become successful because you become the first person to create something new. China shows to us that you become advanced because the people in the country knows how to apply the technology. It is not so much, creation is important, but for the people, for the scientists and the technologists, yes, it's creation. but for the rakyat, for the people, it is application. Chinese or China, the people of China, is probably one nation of people who knows how to use technology in everyday life. That is something that Malaysians should learn. Number two is to be able to develop indigenous technology. Many countries and many people from many nations try to learn from other countries, other more advanced countries. Remember we talk about transfer of technology? I think China is one of the most successful countries when it comes to learning from others and then developing it, innovating it on its own, by its own people. Malaysians can learn from China and from other countries when it comes to technology, but how do you develop it to another stage, to another phase? These are two things that we can learn from China. Using the technology for everyday life, the actual application of technology. Yes, we want to produce scientists and technologies that create new, gadgets and what have you. That is another topic altogether. Yeah, but I'm talking about the people on the street, the 32 million Malaysians. We must be a nation that is able to use technology in the real sense of the word. And number two, learn from others and then innovate and indigenously develop our own technology. That is how China become advanced in robotics, in AI, and many of the other state-of-the-art technologies. Again, my brothers and sisters, I welcome you to Kuantan, of course, to Ramah Kota, to Pahang, and to Kuala Lumpur, to Malaysia. I would like to see that this is not our first and last time that we are meeting. I would like to have another meeting, if I can ask Dato Keith to organize, specifically for China entrepreneurs who are in Malaysia dealing with communications and multimedia. We can have a special meeting with my MCMC, with my CSM, all the agencies under my ministry, so that we find ways and means how we can foster better relations, and hopefully we can attract more China entrepreneurs and investment from China to Malaysia. So I would like to officially launch the PUCM Pahang chapter, and congratulations to the Pro Tem Committee, the new chairman, and thank all of you again for meeting tonight. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.